What's good YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul. Welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to go ahead and remake from scratch Rosary by Don Toliver and Travis Scott. The tempo for this one's 148 beats per minute, and the track is produced by Wheezy and Momberger. We're going to go ahead and kick things off with that sample. Now there are a couple chops that we need to make on the sample, but we'll start off with that guitar. Before we bring in that song, we're going to change our tempo over to automatic mode. This way when we bring in that song, Logic will automatically detect the tempo and it'll make it really easy for us to chop it up. So the sample used for this track is Hurts the Most by Monica. I'm going to go ahead and drag it in here. Logic will analyze it, do its thing. Like I just mentioned, we're going to go ahead and get to that guitar sample. Now that's a really easy one because it's right at the top. It's the first 8 bars of the track. All right, so we're just going to chop it up at the 1 and at bar 9. So I'm just going to chop it up right there, and I'm going to chop it up over on the 1. The next thing that we're going to do is turn on flex mode. This way when we change the tempo, the loop is going to automatically stretch to the new tempo. So we're going to select our track over here and make sure that flex mode is turned on here. And then once again, turn that on the track as well. All right, now let's go and change that tempo to Rosary's tempo. We're going to go ahead and click this marker down over here, go to tempo, create a new tempo set. And we're going to change this tempo over to 148 beats per minute, which is the tempo of Don Toliver's and Travis Scott's Rosary. Now our guitar sample sounds like this. It's a little faster. The next thing we got to do here is pitch this sample up 4 semitones. So we'll select our region, hold down the option key and click arrow up. 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'm going to do here is just chop it up at the halfway point, because sometimes we use that latter 4 bar, this section over here. We only use it sparingly throughout the track, but for the most part, this 4 bar loop over here gets repeated quite a bit in the track. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that up right now. I'm just going to bring this down over to the 1. We'll just copy this down, and I'm going to repeat it over 8 bars. And then the next thing that we're going to do is bring in the drums. So for the drums, I'll be using the Octane Deconstructed kit. If you're interested in the drum sounds from Don Toliver's Octane, a link will be down below. So for this, I'm just going to go ahead and click the Rosary track, and there are all our drum samples here. We're going to start off with the main kick, this one right over here. So I'm going to bring that into Logic's Drum Machine Designer, and we'll get to that pattern. So that pattern just gets repeated. So we'll go Command R on that region. And next, let's get to the hi-hat. So for the hi-hat, we're just going to go ahead and pull in that hi-hat. That's right over here. Bring it into our Drum Machine Designer. And it's a simple pattern, just a 2-step pattern. And it just goes like this. We're going to change our steps to 8. And next, let's get to that snare. So we're going to take the snare 1 over here, bring it into our Drum Machine Designer. And it's a simple pattern once again. We're going to change our steps over to 32 steps. All right, and then we got to get to a couple perks and a shaker. So what I'm going to do here is just go back to the kit. I'm going to take my perk 1, perk 2, and I'm going to take my perk shaker over here. I'm going to drag that into the Drum Machine Designer. Let's start off with that perk 1. Once again, we're going to change our steps over to 32, and we'll put in the sound right there. For perk 2, it's just 1 hit. So create a new pattern region over here, and we're just going to put it right here. It's a little louder. right, and last but not least, we'll get to that shaker. So we'll create a new pattern region. We'll go ahead and change that over to 32 steps. We'll do it on the 1. Make sure that our pattern is set to the 1. Except on this sound, we're going to go ahead and bring in some reverb. So we'll bring in Logic's Chroma Reverb. I'm going to bring in a preset here. We'll go over to spaces. We'll bring in the clean space preset. Let's put it into a space a little bit. All right, let's make this a little louder. All right, so there's pattern A. Next, let's get to pattern B. So what we're going to do here is just copy over the entire section, the drums and the guitar. Like I mentioned at the top of the video, the second 4-bar pattern over here, it does switch up a little bit, so we're going to use that over here. So we'll delete that. We'll copy this down. Now our guitar sounds like this. And then we'll bring in that synth lead. So for that sound, we'll bring down our software instrument track right over here. We'll go Control Command P. We'll bring in Logic's Retro Synth. We'll start off with the default setting that loads up. Let's just get in that pattern and then get to the sound design. We're gonna have some slides and glides in here, so we're just gonna overlap our notes a bit. So for the second 4 bars. All right, now let's get to the sound design. So we'll open up Logic's Retro Synth. The first thing that we're gonna do is change shape 1 over to a square wave. We already get that sound for the most part. And bring down the vibrato. We'll leave the second shape on a sawtooth, and the blend between the two is 50-50. We're gonna go ahead and pull up the cutoff here. I'm gonna bring in some sine level just to give it a little bit more body. Bring up to about 10 o'clock. We'll bring in some chorus on the sound. All right, let's go and solo that out so we get a better idea how the sound is sounding. And then we're going to go ahead and just adjust the amp envelope just to soften it up a little bit. So we'll take our attack and we're going to pull it up a little bit. All right, that's good enough. And then, like I said, we overlapped our notes, so we need to put in some glide in there. So over here, we'll turn glide on all oscillators, and we'll pull this up to about like 10 o'clock-ish. And then we'll dive deeper into the settings on Retro Synth and just give this a little bit more of like an analog flavor. We'll detune the oscillators ever so slightly here. We'll bring it up to about like the halfway point. Gives it like a wider, fuller, more detuned sound. And now we'll just bring in EQ just to shape that sound a little bit. So we'll open up Logic's EQ over here. We'll take a little bit of the lows here, a little bit of the highs. Maybe we'll boost this mid-range part. Just cleans it up a little bit. And then we're gonna go ahead and bring in some reverb, put it into a space. We'll go over to the synth reverbs category, the big, long, and distant. All right, and it sounds like this. All right, and then we'll get to that bass. So for the bass, we're gonna go ahead and use that sub bass one shot over here in the drum kit. And we're just gonna jump to the end of the pattern here. All right, we'll just create a MIDI region, put it at the end here. All right, so the notes are overlapping, so we're gonna open up Logic's Quick Sampler. I'm gonna turn on Classic, and I'm gonna go ahead and just select Mono. All right, I'm just going to stretch out the release time a little bit. And what I'm gonna do here is just end the notes a little bit beforehand. So there's a little bit of a drop before the next hit. All right, that sounds good. That's pattern B. Next, let's get to the pattern C. So what we'll do for pattern C is just pretty much copy over pattern A. And over here, we're just gonna add in a new bass pattern. So we're gonna go ahead and create a new MIDI region here. Not a pattern region, I wanna create a MIDI region. And the pattern just goes like this, nothing too crazy. It's gonna go down here. Except these notes got to get stretched out here. That's it for the bass pattern. And then we get to like this crazy ARP type of sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a new software instrument track. And what we're gonna do here is bring in Logic's ES2 synthesizers. We'll go Control Command P. And we'll bring in Logic's ES2 synthesizer. We'll get to the sound design in a moment. Let's just start off with that pattern. Now the pattern is a little bit wild, a little bit crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and record that in, and then we'll come right back to the sound design. So that right there is our ARP. I recorded it off camera just because it was a little bit long, a little bit crazy. But now let's get to the sound design. So I'll open up Logic's ES2 synthesizer. The first thing we're gonna do is turn on unison and just pull up the amount of voices here. All right, then what we're gonna do here is focus on oscillator 1 and 2. We don't need oscillator 3. For the first oscillator is going to be a sine wave, and for the second oscillator will be a square wave. We're gonna go ahead and pull our triangle mixer over here, the mixer between oscillator 1 and 2 to about a 50-50 split. And then we'll go ahead and detune these oscillators. So over here is our analog knob. We're gonna go ahead and pull that up to about 1 o'clock-ish. All right, let's pull down the cutoff a bit. I'm gonna pull in some chorus. And then we'll shape that sound on envelope 3. So the main thing that we're gonna do here is pull up the attack, soften it up. And I don't want it to last as long, so I'm going to pull down the sustain. Pull down the decay as well, and the release. Getting some clicks there, so I'll pull it up a little bit. All right, so there is the sound right there. Now we just got to add some further effects just to make it less dry, if you will. So the first thing we're going to do is just shape the sound a little bit with some EQ. It takes some of the lows out. And then we'll add in a delay just to give it that character that you need that you heard in the original track. So for this one, we're gonna go Control Command P, and we'll bring in Logic's stereo delay, just because we're gonna have a different rate on the right channel as from the left channel. So on the left channel, we're gonna change the note rate to an 1/8, and the right delay, we're gonna go ahead and change it to a 1/2. And it's gonna sound like this. Gonna get like a crazy delay happening. Just gonna pull down the mix. And then in context, it sounds like this. That's a little loud. All right, so that right there is the main part of the beat. And then we're gonna get to the second half of the beat, or the latter part of the beat. It gets a little bit complicated, a little bit tricky, and I'm not gonna remember where everything goes because we do have to take more chops, quite a few chops from Monica's Hurt the Most. And then we gotta like place it in places, and it gets a little confusing. So I'm not gonna remember how to do all that. So I'm gonna do that off camera. Then when we come back, we're gonna go and break it down. So let's get to that. All right, so here is the final session mix right here. We left off on this section, and then we're gonna talk about this section over here. But we'll just go ahead and play this little sort of transition part over here. It sounds like this. So this is pretty much where we left off before. Come into like this little effects transition. We get those guitars with that lead synth. And then we get into this new section. All right, to start, we get a new kick. That's the pattern. And we get a new snare. And then we get a new sample chop from the track. It sounds like this on its own. All right, now I'll show you where that chop can be found in the original song. So right over here in Monica's Hurt the Most at bar 33, we're going to have sort of the chorus parts, the first chorus. And we just pretty much stem split that to remove the vocals, but this is what it sounds like in the track. Alright, so it's the first chorus part. And of course we don't need the vocals in there, so I just stem split that, and I took the guitar and other right over here. Alright. I pitched that up 4 semitones, and then I went and chopped it up. Now, easy way to do that in Logic is select your regions, and then you just place your playhead at the point where you want to chop up for the entire loop. So what I did here was I just brought my playhead over to the half a bar point, held down the Option key, and when you go ahead and chop that up, it's going to automatically divide your entire region that you selected in that division time that you've had with your playhead, right? So then all I did was just went ahead and muted every other one, and we got that. All right, now let's carry on. So to start, we get this perk loop in there. That can be found in the drum kit as well. All right, and then what I had to do was sample a vocal section of the track. And in the original track, it could be located at this point right over here. It's at bar 37. It sounds like this on the original song. All right, and then I just stem split that and just extracted the vocals, and I got this. Now, you gonna settle down. I thought for sure you'd always wait for me. And then all we gotta do is just pitch that up 4 semitones. Now, you gonna settle down. I thought for sure you'd always wait for me. And then you get the sample that you need right there. Then you get a little vocal chops here. And you also get this new sort of instrument section, and that's also a sample from Monica's Hurt the Most, and that can be found right over here. It's actually in the exact same spot if you line up the 2 beats right over here. It's a little breakdown, but this is what it sounded like in the original track.
Don't you touch her like you used to touch me. Don't you...
Right, you pitch that up 4 semitones, and then you just extract the instrumental and just remove the vocals. You also remove the drums and the bass as well. All right, and then we get those. So those vocals can be found at different parts in the Monica Hurts the Most track. So for the first one, the yeah, it happens at the top of the track, right over here. This is my vocal track, extracted vocals. So there's the yeah. All right. And then if we play a little bit further down at bar 17-ish, we get this About You part.
Yeah. And I'm so crazy about you.
All right, then of course, each one of these samples, you got to pitch it up 4 semitones.
Admit that I'm so crazy about you.
So those are the 2 sample chops right there, and then we're gonna get to a couple more. So we get this Holding On To Me sample, and that can be found at the, here it is right over here. That can be found at bar 22-ish, and it sounds like this from the original track.
You be holding on to me, but usually by now you be holding on to me.
And once again, you just pitch that up 4 semitones.
You be holding on to me, but instead...
All right, and then we're gonna go to the last section of the track, or the second last. We get a couple more sample chops here. So we have the Holding On To Me sample, and then this Dedicate Your Whole Life sample. And that can be found in the original track. Let me just find where it is. There it is right there, around bar 29. Sounds like this.
You decided to dedicate your whole life to.
All right, so that's the sample right there. Except in the original track, what we had to do was just delay the last phrase of that sample. So for the life part, that's delayed quite a bit. All right, so for that, I have an echo on it with a quarter note delay, and this kind of rings out. And on the second sample chop, we're delaying that me portion of that vocal performance. And then on the vocals as well, I should mention I also have a phaser on it just to give it that effect that we heard in the original track. And then we get that ARP back into play here at the outro. Right? The same one that we had before. But then we get a new pattern over here. It's sort of like a piano pad type of pattern, and it sounds like. All right, so for that sound, I'm using Logic's Alchemy. The preset I'm using is the cyclical waves on the rougher performance. Just add in a little bit of EQ just to shape the sound, nothing too crazy. But that's it for the beat. Next, let's go and take a listen to how everything sounds together. So that right there is Don Toliver's Rosary featuring Travis Scott, remade in Logic Pro. For you Logic Pro users out there, I'm going to go ahead and save this entire session for you, place it as a downloadable link below this video. If you don't use Logic, I got your back as well. I'll go ahead and export all the MIDI stamps, audio stamps, and of course include the drum kit that you heard in this remake. You can find that entire playback down below the like button as well. If you do have a question on this or just want to chat or have any suggestions for future videos, let's chat down below. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Later. Peace.